Hello, hello, hello. I am recording this currently from the floor of my daughter's nursery. I recorded a whole intro and I realized this whole time I didn't have anything plugged in. So, welcome to Mom Life. I'm really excited for this next episode with a new friend of mine, Anna Goldfarb. We were introduced from a mutual friend, Dr. Emily Anhalt, who is on the first episode of this current season of Emotional Support. Give that one a listen, as well as another episode, I believe, from season one. She was recommended to me, and I just completely fell head over heels for her. And I consider her to be part of my new modern friendship group. And it's funny because she wrote a book about modern friendships called Modern Friendships. Anna Goldfarb's reporting on friendships has appeared in the New York Times, The Atlantic, Time, Vox, and more. Her book, Modern Friendship, How to Nurture Our Most Valued Connections, examines the challenges of navigating adult friendships in a rapidly evolving world. She also publishes Friendships Explained, a Substack newsletter that explains the mechanics of friendship through a pop culture lens. I'm going to have all the links to her book and her bio and her Substack and her Instagram all in the show notes. So be sure to follow her and give her some love. And speaking of following and giving love, be sure to follow me at Alessandra Torresani on Instagram and all of the other platforms. And be sure to follow this awesome podcast. Give it a like, give it a subscribe. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy to hear from you. And I am doing some more TikTok lives. I feel like that's the best way for me to communicate live to all of you. And if you'd like to follow me there, I am Alessandra Torresani. I love you all so much, and thank you for being my emotional support. Please enjoy this episode with the awesome Anna Goldfarb. I'm so excited to be here. Welcome to Emotional Support, Anna Goldfarb. I'm so excited. She was like, it's not like Princess Anna, but you know what? You're Princess Anna to me, so we're going to go
Princess
with that
Anna.
today. Yes. Everything in my life is Frozen or Little Mermaid. I have a toddler. So for
Oh,
me, seeing Anna on the screen, I'm like, even if it's Anna, you're still a princess to me. Like, I don't care. It's still the same.
thank you. On behalf of all Annas,
Anna's in the
I
world.
I know it. Like I was saying, it's like Trash Panda, Anna. Like, thanks, Mom. Thanks for this
Oh,
Trash Panda rhyming name. Love it.
love it. Thank you so much. Well, I want to do a quick introduction for those who do not know who you are yet. You are a journalist, you are an author, and you are a speaker. And I love this. You were called the New York Times friendship correspondent. I think that that's like absolutely the most amazing thing in the entire world.
I
And I
know
want to
my editor tweeted that at one point, and I was like,
what do you
"This
mean?
is
That is so
amazing."
awesome. That is such a legit flex. Like, are
I
you kidding me?
know.
I was
I
like, this is the
know.
best thing. When I saw that on your bio, I was like, this is the best thing that I've ever seen. Like, I would
I
introduce myself like that everywhere I went.
I know.
I
Well, just between us and our listeners, the New York Times was like, "Stop calling yourself that."
no,
Well,
no.
I'm like, literally, I was called that in quotes, and they're like, "Please
They're
stop." And I'm like,
okay,
"Ooh,
so
okay,
this will be the
spicy."
last time that we say that. How about that? Yeah, this will be the last time, but I'm going to go with it. I love it. And
I
you
know.
wrote this amazing, amazing, amazing book. A mutual friend of ours, Dr. Emily Anhalt, had introduced
Mhm.
us, and Emily was so funny. She was like, "So I have a few like people that I think would be perfect for this." She's like, "But number one on my list right now, I'm thinking is modern friendships." And like when she said
Oh,
that, I was like, "Wait, what do you mean modern friendships?" She's like, oh, she's like, that's the author of the book Modern Friendships. Her name is Anna.
Panda.
And I thought to myself, okay. I was like, cool. And then I thought to myself, what is she trying to tell me? Like modern friendships? Like, is there something that I'm doing like wrong?
Oh
Like that was like where
no.
my mind like spin out. And I was like, of course not. She just like has this really awesome like girl who wants to like come on and talk.
Yeah.
And so your book is phenomenal. It's so great. I want to get
Thank
into it
you.
because I think when I was reading this and I sat in my thoughts and I was like, writing some notes down, I think the most important thing that we don't talk about in this podcast, in life, in love, is how important friendship really is and how it really takes work. And there are so many, I feel like especially now that I'm a mom, I have so many different types of friendships now than I ever did before. I have my friendships with my actor friends, like who can relate to me in a very deep way because we've been through similar traumas together. I had my school friends always when I was a kid. I had my dance friends always as a kid, and then like now I have this like mom group, and then there's separate mom groups where like that mom group doesn't really get along with this one. This one's a little crunchy. This one's a little granola. This one's like, I have 5 nannies and like, I don't have time for this, like and it's funny of how exhausting it is, basically, is what I'm saying in it. It's
Yeah.
exhausting to manage all these different friendships and be a mom and be, try to like keep my life together and be a wife. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot going on.
There's a
So
lot going on.
and so before we get into like the actual book and actually how to have a modern friendship, how did you start to get into this journey to then write this book? How did you find that this is like your forte, your field?
What a great question. I started noticing that my friendships were taking up more and more of my mental real estate
Mm,
in my 30s,
mm,
which I have later learned is totally inevitable. I mean,
yeah.
this is like totally inevitable of this churn. And,
Yes.
I've moved around a lot. I'm a pinball.
Mm,
I grew up I was born in Albany, New York, grew up outside Chicago, loved it, went to school in New York City, then moved to Brooklyn, then moved to Philly. And with each of these moves, I've had to shed friendships, but I didn't
yeah.
want to. I wanted to keep all my friendships.
Sure, sure.
And the guilt of, am I doing this wrong? Like, I haven't checked in on my friend who lives in Richmond, Virginia in a few months. Like, God, I'm a crappy friend. Oh, I should check
Yeah.
in on my friend who lives in St. Louis. I should check in on my friend who lives in San Francisco. It's like, this is a huge Rolodex of people who no longer live near me, but I care for
You
them
love
very
them.
deeply.
Yeah, totally.
And I just felt like I was messing up all the
Mm,
time. And like I said, I started a dating blog when I was 29, like 29 to
very Carrie
32.
Bradshaw of you,
I know.
Anna.
And it was a humor blog. It was like kind of
Cute.
the way I thought of the blog. It's called Schmidt and Kitten.
Wait, that's so cute.
Schmidt and Kitten was the blog. And I thought of it like record reviews about
Uh-huh.
guys' behaviors. Like record reviews are only fun to read if you really love the record or you really
Yeah.
hate the record. You got to really
And in
have the
this
extreme. So,
time, you probably either really loved the guys or you hated them because they were
yes.
complete assholes. Yes.
And it was like guy behaviors of
Yeah.
like things guys do. Long story short, I met my husband and I was like, well, I don't care about dating anymore.
Yeah.
I have my guy. I'm like, what am I going to write about?
Yeah.
And it really was this whole revelation of, oh, there's this whole other relationship in my
Yeah.
life that I don't understand as much as I
Yeah.
didn't understand dating and was confounded by all the behaviors I was seeing. Now
Mm,
it's like, oh my God, this, like, I'm now, when you look at your friendships, like I was feeling the same kind of confusion of what am I seeing? How do I
sure.
understand this? And as a
Sure.
journalist,
It must have been
I
so
was,
fascinating for you.
yeah, like I didn't
Yeah.
want to write about dating or romance anymore, but I found this other niche or niche. We're going with
Niche.
niche. We found
Niche.
this other niche of,
Yeah.
well, actually, this is another relationship I'm fascinated with. And the more I've learned, the more questions I've had.
Hmm.
I started reporting on friendship for the New York Times in 2017.
Cool.
And the more questions I had, the more I got to report. Like, how do you rekindle a friendship? How do you handle a quiet season in a friendship? How
Mm,
do you stop people pleasing? And I just had a wonderful editor who really encouraged me to pursue these questions. And with the pandemic, I was reporting on, you know, life.
yeah.
How do we handle this life? How do we handle social connections? I was writing like constantly, and I knew I wanted to put together something more comprehensive about what is this moment? Like, why do we have our phones full of people we love, but we never reach out to them? Like,
And
what's
I think
going
what's
on?
fascinating about the pandemic is there was an app, I talk about it a lot on here. A couple years ago, I talked about it a lot during the pandemic, was an app called Clubhouse. Did you ever know Clubhouse?
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Okay.
just talking about it recently of like,
Oh,
whatever
how
happened to
bizarre.
Clubhouse?
So, Clubhouse, for those who don't know, it was basically like a voice social media app where, it was like a live radio show that people
Yeah.
had, and little like clubhouses, like basically, and friendships. And it's so wild because it was kind of like it became an addiction for so many of us, me included, because I
Yeah.
had like a couple thousand people that followed me on there. And it became, I had like, I had mental health story time, and I would bring people on and friends, and people would like share their stories, and it was very similar to like kind of like an Alcoholics Anonymous thing where people would come on and share, and you didn't have to see your face, right? So it was like you could be whoever you wanted to be and be able to get that off of your chest. We had an I love you room where people would go around the room and just say I love you, like, or I love themselves, or
Aw.
I love, and it was like looking at them like that's so fucking wild that I like that happened. And then one day I stopped, like I emotionally couldn't handle it anymore because it felt like so much pressure to like constantly be going on there and
Yeah.
constantly be talking. And the world started opening up, and things were getting back. And I just like stopped it one day, and people would write me and they're like, "Are you not doing these rooms anymore? Are you not doing this?" And I'm like, "No. I can't." Like there was
Yeah.
like, it was like not the right thing for me at the time. Like I couldn't do it. And then I ended up getting pregnant. So it wasn't the right time for me. But the one thing that I will say about that app is there were so many friendships that I met through that app that I have continued to be real
Wow.
life friends with, because there was someone, and I think it was Erwin Valencia. He was a guest on my podcast, and he was and I'm gonna totally say it wrong. He was like a spiritual coach for the New York Knicks, and he's not a spiritual coach. Like he has a real, like there's a real in quote unquote title. And he, like his mentor was Phil Jackson. Like this guy was unbelievable, and he was on the app, and he kind of got everyone together in real life, like even during COVID, and was like, everyone get
Wow.
tested, wear a mask, and we're going to meet up at this place. And everyone kind of met. And it was like this time where so many, these were friendships that, this is so long winded and I apologize, but like these were friendships that I never in a million years would have had if it weren't A, for the pandemic, and B,
Yeah.
for me not seeing their faces. And I mean that in like, not that they're not like good looking people, none of that. Just we are different people from different
Yeah.
walks of life. There were no like newly married people on there. Everyone was like, there were super young people that I never would have given the time of day because I would have been like, I'm in my 30s. Like, I don't have time to hang out with you. You're like 22. You're just like starting your life. But their mind was not, or people who were much older that I never would have thought I connected with. So I think it's really
Wow.
special to like how wonderful it is to have friendships, how much they can change your life, if that makes sense, and how
Absolutely.
people you don't think could be your friends actually could be the best people in the entire world for you. And so I wrote a few questions down, if you don't
Yeah.
mind. And actually I want to say like the first chapter of why you feel like you both have 100 friends and zero friends
Yeah.
at the same time, that hit me so hard because I feel I'm also an only child, so this is my emotional state, but
Mm.
like I've always had a million friends, and my mom has always made sure that there were always people at the house. We always had sleepovers, that they were the party house in high school. Like, I always was made to feel like there was so much, but at the same time, I do feel like it's also hard because I'm an only child, and I do feel like, yeah, I feel like I have 100 friends, but is there one true friend? Yes, I have one true friend who's my best friend, but but it is tough, where you feel sometimes so lonely. So, why
Yeah.
was that the first chapter for you, and what does that mean to you?
Well, I think that encapsulates the entire modern friendship. The beauty and the burden of modern friendship is that
Yeah.
we have to individually make a case for
Yes.
every single friendship in our life of whether to
Yes.
keep it active or not.
Yeah.
We have all this choice. We have flexibility. You just shared the most beautiful story of what modern friendship is that you can
Mm.
connect with people and have a freedom there, but it's
Yes.
also very fleeting and easy to shed of like, well, what do I owe I like these people. I love that we can connect and I can get to, have these conversations and these connections, but what keeps it active? What keeps it
Mm.
going? How do you turn that into something nourishing to your life?
Yeah.
And I think that is the critical question of modern friendship. And that was born from the pandemic of everyone saying, reach out to your old friends right now, reach out to people, reach out to people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why did you lose touch?
Yeah.
Hello,
Right.
like what's going to change with you having a phone call for 2 hours? And
Yeah.
you download all the updates from the person. You're like, oh my God, it sounds like you're great. Well, I miss you, love you, bye. And then
And then that's
what,
it.
and that's it. Then it probably will go longer till you talk
Mm-hmm.
to them again because you're like, oh, we connected. They're cool. You don't have a reason to be in touch. So to feel like you have 100 friends and 0 friends really got to the heart of these are the people I'm speaking to. Not
Mm-hmm.
everyone feels that way. Some people can do a a group cruise with their 10 best friends from
Yeah.
I'm not talking to
Sounds
them as
fun. I'd
much.
love a group
Yeah,
cruise.
that's like I would love a girl group. Like I don't roll like that. And there are books for people like that, I'm sure. But I wanted this book to talk to people who really felt adrift of I
Mm,
have all these people I've met. I have this deep collection of wonderful friends that I care for on some level, but how do I regard this collection?
sure, sure, sure.
How do I like there's no guidance on it because we're in a historically new moment. There is
Oh,
no guidance. So
100%. Yes.
it's like
And that's and it is. It's like you're rewriting history, like because what do you do? You know?
yes, and the kind of friendships you have are modern. It's like, well,
Yeah.
that's why it feels like these trade-offs. These trade-offs are you get to know people from different backgrounds, different genders, different races, different class backgrounds. We have unlimited flexibility on who we
Mm-hmm.
can befriend. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
historically new.
Mm-hmm.
But the trade-off is that those connections might be more superficial. They might be easier to
Totally.
drop. So how do you find sustenance in a world like this? And the way I think of it is very much like a supermarket
Mm,
of going food shopping. When you're hungry, you're overwhelmed. I mean, you're surrounded by food, but how do you pick healthy food? How do you pick food that's
yes.
going to be good for you?
Yes.
So that's how I look at my book, Modern Friendship, is like, here's how to have a healthy plan when you're surrounded by connection, but not all of it's very nourishing.
So here's kind of a selfish question that's I've always thought about is, I had a really very, very, very close friend in my life. And there were, I would say the last like year or two of our friendship, there were things that were just so I just it was beyond like annoying to me. It was not like an annoyance. It was like this person was someone that was constantly like shit talking everyone. And I was like, if you're shit talking
Ooh.
everyone, you're definitely going behind my back and doing it. It was funny because I didn't tell this person I was pregnant for a while. And I was going to tell them that I was pregnant over Zoom because it was COVID. And then they
Yeah.
just like didn't show up to a Zoom one day. And after that, I kind of was like, okay, I'll take that as it was like a group Zoom. And after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to take that as like, you just don't care about this friendship. So, like, I'm not either. And I just never talked to them ever again. And it was funny because there was no like, there were many reasons as to why myself like stopping friends with them because of
Hmm.
all this, what I've explained. But it was funny. It was the first time in my life that I just kind of like cold cut this person off, but it was because I found out I was pregnant and I had made a choice that when I got pregnant, I was like, I don't need any more negativity in my life. I don't need any more stress. And if I'm worried that this person is talking shit about me, or if this person is like, there's some sort of jealousy or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
I'm not going to even do it anymore. Like, I don't have to
Yeah.
explain. They didn't explain, so I'm not going to explain. Now, what would be if you were me, in this situation, is there something that maybe you would have done differently? Is there something like maybe someone is having a hard time like ending a friendship or having that breakup and they don't know what to do? And maybe they don't want to be an asshole like me and like cut off cold turkey or like,
I
what
don't
if
think you
like,
were an asshole. I think
well, I
it's
don't think
just
I was an asshole, but I mean, but I laugh about it. But I just feel like, what if someone doesn't have maybe, let's say, it's not even like a strength or a superpower, but like I'm very cold hearted. Like if you fuck me over once, like we're done. Like, and I'm okay. And that's just like in my nature. Like I've always been like that in relationships. But this was like the first friendship where I really was like, I'm good. We're done, and I'm walking away. What would you say to someone who maybe wants to have a breakup in a friendship, but doesn't know how to break up because it's not like a dating relationship. It is different. Like you want to handle it differently.
Alessandra, that's one of the top 3 questions I'm asked as a friendship
Really?
expert. That is that is one of the most
Shit. I thought
asked
I was being
questions
unique
people
here,
ask
Anna.
me.
Ah,
And no, and it really says more about how we're conditioned as women to not rock
mm,
the boat. And
yes.
and even men to an extent, men aren't socialized to fight for friendships either. And we just really have a blind spot in our culture of how to disassociate from a friend. We all do it. We
Right.
find a way to clumsily like, okay, I'm out, I'm done, block, mute, whatever.
Yeah.
But we also have more ways to disengage from a friendship now. Before, like, imagine your grandma. If she's like, oh, I'm done with this person, you literally just live your life and just move
Yes. And
on.
you move
But now
forward.
it's like decisions of like, well, do I mute her stories? Do I unfollow? It's like so exhausting
Oh,
to
it's
know the
so exhausting.
etiquette. So just to validate that there are so many more decisions about ending a friendship than historically before, generally
Mm-hmm.
speaking,
Mm-hmm.
like you
Sure.
literally would just be like, I'm not fucking with you anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bye. But now it's like, well, what are the consequences of that?
And you
So it's
wonder,
just,
like,
it's more
oh, is that
fraught.
person friends with this person? And is that going to affect their
Yes, there's a
friendship? And, like,
cost.
yes, there
Yes.
is a cost to
There
everything.
is a cost. I mean, my word of the year is trade-offs of like, there's trade-offs to everything. If I distance myself from this person, the trade-off is that, that social circle might, not be available to me or will
Sure.
change. The dynamic will
Sure.
change. So you're just weighing the trade-offs. Honestly, there's no perfect way to do it, but it really sounds like this person didn't play an important role for you. Like
No,
it
and
was
I think it
just,
was a time and a place that this person was in my life. And then when you look back at all the things and all the, conversations and stuff, it was a very one-sided friendship. And every single
yeah.
person that I spoke to afterwards that used to be friends with this person too, they were like, "Oh, it was totally one-sided. We just like stopped being friends." Like, I don't know why. And I was like, "Oh, that's so funny." Like, there's no like
Yeah.
particular reason. It was like, "Well, you just didn't show up."
Wasn't a
And I was like,
fit.
"You know what? I'm cool with this. Like, we're good, bro."
Yeah, like it wasn't a fit.
But
And
it
I
is funny to me because I think you're right. When you speak on women, as women, we're conditioned to like constantly feel bad and constantly want to like,
yes,
oh my
constant
gosh.
guilt.
Because I look at my husband and I look at like, even like my like other best friend who's like a male and fabulous and gay and just like he like draws people left and right and it's like never even a question and you're just like what happened to this person? He's like, I
Yeah,
don't know, I don't want to talk to him anymore. I'm like, what?
I know.
Like it's crazy, but like forget even about him because he's very strong and my husband's very strong. But I find what's so funny about kind of my husband and his friendship groups, like they just like won't talk for like 3 years. And then they'll like
Yeah,
talk one day and like be like everything's normal and fine. And I'm like, what? Like, don't and he's like, what? It's not a big deal. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, and then they're like going on a trip together, and you're like, how did this happen? Like,
I
you want to
know.
like catch up and see? Like, and it's
Men's
so
friendships are a
funny.
little different.
They're
They're a little
so
different.
different. It's so
Yeah.
different how like we have to like want to like micromanage and make sure everything's okay and like
I
and I
know.
always feel, this is another question I have, like I always feel like the guilt of me not showing up for people enough, and or if someone doesn't ask me what's going on in my life, like they don't love me anymore. Well, then you know what, maybe they just don't have time to think about these things, like I feel like it's so hard friendship. So I guess another question that I have for you is like, how can we like as humans ourselves manage our friendships but also manage our own time as well? Like how do we know how much time to put into a friendship?
Um, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you,
I'm
Alessandra?
38.
38. Okay, you
Yeah.
were perfect. You were perfect age. This is the perfect age when all of these questions are at the
Started
forefront
writing. Yeah.
because in your early 30s, friendships transition from being a primary relationship to more of a
Mhm.
secondary one.
Mm,
And I'm sure you feel it, your friends feel it, when just falling in love will cost you 2 close friendships
sure.
because
Sure.
your time and availability shift, your priorities shift. So at 38, this is exactly the age where people tend to get pickier
Hmm.
with who they befriend. So that's all normal,
It's lining
inevitable.
up.
It's lining up of just you get pickier of, I don't need to spend my time with friends. And it's, it's not a primary
Sure.
relationship. They're not like, what roles do they play for you? Like, it just all comes into focus a little different of who's worth investing in, like which
Mm.
relationships are worth investing in. Studies show we lose half of our friendships every 7 years.
Wow. Wow.
And that's, when you think about it, it's like, well, what was important to me 7 years ago?
Right.
It's probably wildly different than what's important to you today. And
100% it's different.
like, it's
Yeah.
totally different.
Yeah.
So the people you seek out are going to, you know, be better aligned for what's important to you today, of
Mm.
people who, understand your life, your schedule, your priorities. Like, you're going to want people who understand you, for support you in the roles you have now. So all
Well,
that to
and
say
it's
is,
so true because I just look at myself now. I'm a mom. I wasn't a mom 7 years ago. Like I
yes,
could
it's
give
going
a
to
fuck
change
about things.
everything.
Yeah.
It's going to change everything. And it will absolutely change your stamina, your interest, your availability. I mean, it changes everything.
Yeah, and my
So,
choices, like I know if I'm going to hang out with
mhm.
someone, I would prefer if they have a child because it's not like, oh, we can relate and get super deep. There is that, but also the odds are that their child can hang out with my child and it's like a
Yes.
2-for-1 special, you know?
So that's the that's what's compelling to you right
Hmm.
now. And what compelling change is to us is going to change. Like, in my 20s, I liked people with good record collections. Guess what? I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, there's not a criteria I need of, let me look at your,
Yeah.
your
I
CD
mean, look at your
binder or
vinyls,
whatever.
dude.
Let me look at your vinyls. Like, I don't care. But
Yeah.
that cared so much when I was
Sure.
younger. So it's like we all change. And I forgot your original question, but the point is, I hope books like mine will help people give a language to what they're seeing, because
Sure.
you're feeling these changes. And a lot of people have never had anyone give a language to it, of
Mm.
like, actually, hey, tap, tap, like, there's different tiers of friendship now. When we're younger, we're pretty much our companion. They played that role for us. They were our plus
Sure.
one. They were the one we'd like do everything with.
Always.
But
Yeah.
now guess what? Like, you're in a romantic relationship, and that person is your plus one now.
Mhm.
That's the
Mhm.
person you have dinner with every night. You have to run a household with. It's the person you plan a future with. It's not necessarily your friends. So it's like a whole new
Yeah.
relationship. Everyone's sort of feeling around in the dark of, well, how do we make sense of this big shuffle?
And it's so funny because like I even find the shuffle between my husband and my best friend Jenna, who's been my best friend since I was
I have a
12.
best friend named Jenna.
You
Oh,
do?
I
Oh,
do.
that makes me really
Oh my God, we
happy.
need a secret handshake.
Oh,
Like,
we
people
do
who
need a
love
secret
Jennas.
handshake. Yeah. But it's so funny because like there'll be times like where we'll like joke, it's like the throuple like going out, you know what I mean? And like we're all going
Yeah.
out. But then there's times like and I whisper this because my husband's in the other
I
room,
won't
like,
tell him.
I don't want to hang out with him. Like I just
Oh,
want to be with
it's not
like
the
my best
same.
friend and I want to like bitch and moan
Just be
and I want to
free.
be,
Just feel free.
I just want to be
Yeah.
like, I'm young and free and youthful and like, but you know what I mean? I just want to have those moments where it's
Yeah.
that girl time. And I think it's so important for us to stay connected as females, like to our friends, like not lose our friends in relationships. And I think that even though I've been with my husband for almost, 10 years, it's still, I feel like, a fucking balance like that I've been trying
I
to figure out
know. I
because
know.
I
No
don't want
one,
to hurt his feelings. But like sometimes, bro, like I don't want to hang out with you. Like I want to hang out with Jenna or
I
I want to
know.
go out
I
with the
know.
gays. Like this is what I want to do. So what would you say to someone who's maybe newly in a maybe not even newly in a relationship, but in a relationship and they're trying to find the balance of like, I need my space, but I don't want my partner to feel like I'm cutting them out.
I have the same issue in my marriage, just to be candid. Like,
Cool.
because obviously I'm obsessed with friendship. I wrote a book on it. Like, it's literally all I
Sure.
talk about. I read friendship textbooks in my spare time, of like, I want to know as much about this as possible. And what I learned about this very thing is that it's definitely a phenomenon.
Mm,
Men usually, their closest, most intimate relationship is their significant other. But for women, it's a significant other and a best friend.
yeah.
And that requires, like you said, negotiation,
Yes.
because men don't have that deep intimacy with their friends.
No.
It's not like that. And it really is a balance, and it just requires negotiation and
Mm.
explaining of like, listen, I need this. It's not something against you. I'm not saying I
No.
don't want you. It's I need this too. Women
Mhm.
need in midlife, women tend to want more interdependence. They want to be a part of other people, their friends' lives.
Mm.
Men want more independence in midlife. They want to be free from being criticized or judged. To them, friendships are carry risk of, is my friend gonna judge me that I'm not a good husband or not good at work
Yes.
or I'm not like my car sucks, like whatever. So it's very, very different. And I've had to explain to my husband of like, we are different. This is what studies show. We need different things
Yes.
and no one's wrong. Like I can love you and still want to pursue my friendships.
Sure.
It, and also we've talked a lot about him having, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this. I don't think he will, but of him like having to put effort into his own friendships. I think a
Yes.
lot of men think when they get married, I don't want to put effort into anything. I'm done. Like they don't
Yes.
want to put effort in. And
So
it's like,
then you
well,
end up
why
being the bearer and you try to be friends
yeah.
with these people's wives and you try to keep it up and then it just fizzles and you're like, I tried.
Yes, it's very hard. And I try to explain to my husband, I show him studies like this is so normal. And a lot of friendships from our
Oh,
past,
yes.
we hang out with our friends independently from people who we met before we were married. But we've also really been intentional about double dating with a couple that we only became close with once I got married. So
Hmm.
we double dating is really the way forward of we got to
Mm.
find a couple that we both like so that we can both spend friend time together
I
and
love that.
like that's I a few years ago I was like we need to be talking about double dating more and nobody wanted to assign me that story. I was like double dates are the key to
I
how
love
to
a double
balance this
date.
more.
Yes.
And I've been more intentional of like, we have a couple friends. I mean, my husband
Mm.
and I don't have children. So it's a little bit different what's available to us
Well, you
because we
do
don't
have a
have
kid. You
that.
have a little kitty cat in the back. I see your baby.
Oh my gosh, that's Eleanor. She's my intern.
Eleanor.
She's taking notes.
She's gorgeous.
But we befriended another
Yeah.
child-free couple, well, they just moved away a little bit more, but in our neighborhood. And
But that's
we have a
important.
lot, we
It's
love them.
important to find a
Double
commonality.
dates.
Yes, because let me tell
Yes,
you, it is so uncomfortable for me to go and like have conversations, right, with people who don't have kids. Now it's a little different because my daughter's 3, but right at the beginning, I was going through so much postpartum anxiety that I couldn't even
certainly.
like function. And so for me, like when I would like go and hang out with people, if they didn't have kids, they didn't understand that I was literally drowning and I didn't know what I was going to do, like, or how I was going to survive the next day. And I think that it's
Yeah.
so important, like when you find new friendships, and like you say, like double dating, right? Like you find that you guys have something very much in common. You know what I mean? I think that that's super important. Like you have to find
Yes, and
something because otherwise you're going to be at a cut with who have kids and they're going to be bitching and moaning and they're going to probably be drinking, because they want to have a good time because they're away from the kids and all. And you're like, I don't get it. And that's okay. Like neither side needs to totally fully get it, but like there needs to be some sort of commonality, like that
yeah.
draws you together, that makes it fun and makes it exciting.
And my only tip is it's gonna take some time and some trial and error. Like we've tried going out with different couples and some of them have
Some
been like,
suck.
okay. Some suck. And
Some are
it's
awful.
I guarantee if I wasn't so into friendship, I don't think we would be
No.
like spending energy on this. But I know the research and I'm
Yeah.
like, babe, we have to just pick a couple that we really like. And then we've hung out over years now, and now we've had a really strong
Oh,
relationship with this other couple. And it really shows the friendships take a long time to
sure.
develop. And
Sure.
a lot of us don't have that stamina of like, well, let's just go out and have an okay time for years on end. It's like, well, it takes a while to develop
Yes.
a deep friendship, especially with another couple. Like, it's going
Yes.
to take time. Like,
A
take the
hundred
pressure
percent.
off. Be like, well, let's just have a couple that we try new restaurants with. Okay. And maybe it'll develop something deeper. You got to be open to it.
But you know what? You have a commonality, and I think that that's really fun.
Yes.
Another question that comes to me is, you talked about earlier in the episode how you are someone that moved around a lot. Now, I am someone that sort of moved around a lot. I'm originally from the Bay Area. I moved to LA when I was 9, and then I, was in a regular school for a few years and did that high school experience, but then ended up actually leaving to shoot a show in Australia, and then I moved to Vancouver
Oh.
when I was like, I think, oh, I was there on my 21st birthday. So I was 20 till I was like 23, 24. And I kind of moved around a lot just as an actor, right? Because I constantly was like all over the place, Atlanta, Toronto.
Oh,
And I found I had to, while I had my best friend, Shanna, my best friend, my other best friend Xander is going to be mad that I'm not saying his name. So Xander too. But I feel like everywhere I went, I had to rediscover friendships. And
yeah.
I was very lucky, I think, being on a set that everyone has a very similar experience where when you get on a set, it's especially when I would say when you're not in your home base, if you're not in LA or New York, it becomes a family and you open up way quicker than you ever thought you could
Yeah.
before because you have to have that vulnerability and you find connection. But I found I made amazing friends when I lived in Vancouver who were not in the business, who were not on the TV show that I was on, that I had met because someone in LA was like, "Oh, my sister just moved back to Vancouver. You should like meet up with her." And we literally went like on a blind girls date and had the time of our life and we're still friends. And this
I
was
love
when I
that.
was 20 years old, and I'm 38, like we said. And I was 21 at the time because I was drinking at a bar. I remember this. So I had to be 21. Fake ID there. No fake ID there. But I think that it's so difficult to meet friends when you move. That's my point. Is there's no
Yeah.
handbook on how to do it. And I think that there's ways for things to be easier. I think if you're a parent, you can join kind of like parent groups, and that's a great way to meet someone. But if you don't have an automatic into a new friendship in a new place, how does one even begin to start to meet a friend?
You know, I this is the other most frequent question I'm asked as a friendship expert. You
I'm
really hit
sorry, I'm
on like
asking
the
you the
top
same
two.
question.
No, but this is what people want to know. And it really
Yeah.
shows like that people don't have a lot of
They don't have a
guidance here.
book.
I will say my colleague Shasta Nelson is writing a book about how to meet people when you move somewhere new. She's the
Oh,
OG
great.
friendship expert. She's the first friendship expert I ever interviewed in, I think, 2016. She's
Wow.
phenomenal, old school, love her. Not she's not her ideas aren't old school, but she's been around for like one of the
Sure.
longest voices. But I reply to people when they say, "How do I meet new friends or make new friends?" I say, "Well, what are you bringing to the table? Why would someone want to
Mm,
be your friend right now? Like, is it possible your capacity to be a friend has changed a lot from
mhm.
when you're comparing these other close friendships to?" So it's like, well, why would someone want to be your friend? Like, what would you bring to the table? People make friends for 5 reasons, according to a 2021 study. First is career. Second is mating. You meet someone to like go party with, to go dancing with, to like try and
Yeah.
hook up. Um, Third is what they call desirable qualities, which means like compatibility. You have the same hobbies and passions. Fourth is emotional support.
Mm.
And fifth is sociability, which basically means you're in the mix. Like they invite you out, to barbecues or a book club.
Sure.
Like you get to meet other people. So when you look at it through that lens of, okay, well, here's why people would want to be friends with me.
Where do
What
I
can
fit
I
in
bring
that?
to the
Yeah.
table?
Right.
Can I help with their career? Are we in the same career? Career is a huge one in your 30s. So maybe
Huge.
other
It's
podcasters,
huge.
like you do great with a podcast group of women who really care about
Yes.
podcasting.
Yes.
And then you could take it from there. Hobbies and passions, compatibility. It's like you go from there. What's interesting with mating is that I think 40% of us meet our romantic partners online. So
Mm.
that's really, you don't need friends in common to
No.
find a partner,
No.
which has really friendship's taken a blow because that was one of the reasons you
To
keep your
to
friends
get to
around was to meet a good guy, to meet like, I got to put me in the mix. So it's interesting
Well,
to think about
speaking of
modern
online then, and you're saying that 40% meet online, I do know that there's a lot of friendship apps,
yes.
that people can meet through there. Do you think that those actually work, or is there something where the friendship, the relationship aspect, something works there with online, but maybe with the
Yeah.
friendship it doesn't?
Well, I think it could, but it depends on like what your if you're honest about what your capacity is.
Hmm.
Like if you're trying to make friends in your 30s, it's very different than your 20s.
Yeah.
It might be very different. Maybe it's the same. Maybe it's very different. So I don't think I'm hoping by having conversations like this, people will think, well, what can I do today? Like I have how much time do I have? Understanding that you're auditioning for a secondary role in someone's life, not the
Right.
primary as much anymore. It's like,
Right.
well, let's do secondary. How can I help with an aspect of your life?
Sure, sure.
Let's start with career. Are we in the same career? If we aren't in the same career path and career is really important to me, it's going to be much harder to keep the friendship active because it's not as compelling. It's like, well, what's
Mhm.
compelling to me? What do I want to do? I want to move my body. I want to watch movies. I want to play video games. Okay. Well, who can I watch movies with? Who else likes video games that I could maybe do like a video game text thread?
Sure.
Like you got to think about what you're interested in doing
Mhm.
because one of
And
the
find the
connection
commonality.
find the commonality and one of the connections I really draw out in my book is that friendship takes so much time. It takes
Mm.
200 hours to go from stranger to close friend.
Wow.
Like if you're like I'm in the market, I need a new best friend. It's like, well, what am I going to spend 200 hours doing? What would I want to do for 200 hours? And then you can work backwards from there of like, oh, well, I wouldn't mind, doing talking about skincare. Okay, let me find someone who's really into
Mm.
skincare. Like, what am I obsessed with? And how can I find someone obsessed with this too?
So what if you're somebody who doesn't live like in a big city and living in a town where it's the same people that you grew up with, but you have different interests and you're trying to learn, like, what would you say to them? Like how they could maybe expand their horizons, like maybe through technology?
Yeah. Or I'd say try to find people you admire, people that would
I
make you
like
feel
that.
really good to be like, oh my, study. People think it'll make them happier to have more friends. But it's like, look at your phone. You have a ton of friends. You never call them.
Mhm.
What's up with that? What actually makes us feel better, according to research, is when people we love consider us their best friend. So
Mm.
it gives me that self-esteem boost that I found the most amazing, intelligent, hilarious women I can, and they pick me as their best friend. That
Yeah.
makes me feel good.
Yeah.
It's not like
Right.
I'm picking someone and, it doesn't really feel as good as you think it would. I mean, you pull up social media, you see all your friends right there. It doesn't really feel like anything.
It doesn't feel like anything
It
at this
doesn't feel
point,
like
and I
anything
feel like
anymore.
yes, and I feel like that is what's so hard. It's when you have the physical connection of like, and I don't mean that in a sexual way, but I mean the physical, like you're seeing
Yes,
someone gives you
tactile.
a hug,
Yes.
like there's
My friend
something
touches my
so
arm. It's like, oh my God, I love this woman.
yep.
Since I've learned about friendship and I've written this book, I've started telling my friends, well, I realized my job as a friend, one of them, is to remove uncertainty
Mm.
at every opportunity. Because friendships are ambiguous. It's one of the most ambiguous relationships we have. We don't have a ritual to say, you are my best friend. I bequeath you the
Yeah.
rights. Like, let's sign a contract. I mean, I signed a contract with my husband when we got married.
Right, right.
I know who my sisters are. I know who my, like, go on and on. But friends is very squishy. It's a squishy word.
Mhm.
So I've started telling my friends, I want to be, well, my best friend Jenna, I told her, I said, I want to be your best friend forever, just so we're clear. Like, I don't ever
No.
want you to doubt that. Like, I know we can't hang out as much as we both want to, but my door is always open. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, I
So,
love that.
and guess what? Her shoulders relaxed and
Yeah,
she hugged
sure.
me and she said, I want to be your best friend forever too. And so, what that
Oh,
means is we have like it's
an
said it's
understanding.
spoken. It's like, we don't have to, I understand she has two small children. It's like, I get that we're not in a
Sure.
season where we can like whoop it up every week, but
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. And that's the best gift I can give to my friend in this season.
I absolutely love that you say talk about the ritual. It's funny because my mom's, has My mom has had lots of friendships throughout her life, and she has, newer friendships and older friendships. But one of her closest friendships is who, she's the godmother to, this woman's, one of her children, is someone that she met in college who was in her sorority. And it was so cute to me because I went to my mom's, like, best friend's daughter's wedding, blah, 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 and it was, like, 4 of the sorority sisters, right? And it was so funny to see this dynamic. Women of a certain age, having this friendship, but how wonderful it is that even though they live in different parts of, the world, and they don't talk every single day, they still are there for one of another, like, in the important times, and those are still, like, their best friends. They still all show up for each other no matter what the situation is, and it
Mm,
was so inspiring to me how I was like, "Oh, wow, like, who would have thought?" And they've been through tragedy and, like, husband passing away and children being very, very,
yeah.
very sick, and, you just see how they've just been there for each other, and that you don't have to see everyone every day. You don't have to speak to someone every day, and that still can be your best friend. It's such a beautiful thing.
I have something to add to that. One of the things I learned is that there's two different categories of friends. And it sounds like you're talking about nostalgic friends. Those
Mm.
are friends that, like you said, we've known us for years and years and
Yeah.
years. The love is there. But there's also active friends. Those are the ones we
Yes.
see all the time. And
Yes.
I think where it can get scrambled is when you don't have the language for it of like, well, my best friend, yeah, she lives across the country and I see her once every 5 years, if that. And it can be like, well, she doesn't know the workings of my day. She doesn't understand,
Sure.
I'm avoiding gluten right now, so I'll make certain decisions, or
Sure.
I'm between jobs right now. But your active friends will know that information about you,
Right.
but they may not have the
Right.
history.
Right.
So it's very much a language thing of we love our friends, but we also need to understand the expectations for the different kinds of
Mhm.
friends, of a
Mhm.
nostalgic friend versus an active friend. And
Mhm.
that's given me a lot of peace of, it's okay if I don't hear from one friend as much. That's more of a
Mm.
nostalgic friendship. It doesn't diminish the importance of the friendship, but it helps
Mm-mm.
me understand that the expectations and what I'm seeing.
Sure, sure. Oh, no, I love that. It's funny, I talked about it on the podcast. I went to my 20-year high school reunion, and I got reconnected with a lot of people from my past, and it's so funny, I was talking to one of the girls, and we went and we had lunch, and we were talking about a business thing, something, and I said, "Yeah, but, I don't know if this person would be good, but I really would trust the person that we went to school with." And she was like, "Oh, really?" I go, "Yeah, because I don't know why. Like, I just feel like I trust those people, even though I haven't seen them for 20 years. Like, I just
Yeah.
know that, like, they were good fucking people when they were like 12. Like, I feel like they'd still be good people. And maybe that's like totally wrong to like make that assumption, but there's something about like, oh, I've known these
Yeah.
people in a different state that other people may not ever will definitely will never experience.
Yeah.
Like, and so I do feel a sort of nostalgia where I would a
Yeah.
trust, in these humans because of that. And I feel like when you do have that commonality of like there were a lot of people that, I wasn't super tight with in high school that I find now, oh my God, these would be really great friends now. Like I really can connect with them, and I trust, like, we went to a great school, like I know we're cool people, like I remember their parents, like, you know what I mean? Like you remember these things, and there's
It is
something really nice
special.
about that. And special. Yeah.
It is very special and it's valuable, but it's also very different than the friend you see,
100%.
one, two times a week that
Yes.
knows your daughter,
Yes.
like that knows your
Yes.
family, knows your husband. It's like
Yes.
very different. And we live in a world where that's becoming more and more common,
Mm.
of a differentiation between people you grew up with and know you and then the people in your life today. For
Mhm.
generations past, that they didn't have that distinction. You lived in the same freaking village. You lived in the same
Right.
shtetl. You
Right.
lived in the same place like for generations.
Right.
You didn't have to try so hard and have it's just the trade-off of it all.
It's a
Yeah.
total trade-off. What is your one advice that you would give to someone who's looking for a new friend?
Oh my gosh. Well, looking for a new friend. Well, I'd be like, well, what's up with the, it's sort of
Maybe
like,
they're feeling
I,
lonely and they're feeling unheard, or
it's
like
like I
people
have
have
a,
grown around them.
to me, it sounds like I have a bunch of puppies. They're acting kind of weird. Let me get a new puppy. That's what it sounds like to me.
Or maybe
It's like, well, what's up with
let's
the puppies you have?
well, let's say
Like,
everyone around them has, because I do know very similar people to this, where everyone around them either has gotten married or they've had children, and they kind of are just still single, but
yeah,
don't
I
want to
get
be
that.
living the
I get
fabulous
that.
single life, and maybe want to try to find a partner, but are just kind of lost.
I think the mistake people make is they don't think enough about, like I said, why someone would want to be their friend. And to that, I
Mm,
mean, do, the way to have people care about you is in return for you caring about them and what
mm,
they care about.
mhm,
My friends, my goal as a friend, I came up with this word in the book called wholehearted friendship because wholehearted means dedicated, committed, and enthusiastic. And I'm
mm.
like, that's the kind of friendships I want. I want
Sure.
someone to be like, hell yeah, I want to hang out. Not
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't know. Well, I'll get back to you. It's like, no, I want that enthusiasm.
Sure.
And the way to get it is to care deeply about what your friends care about.
Mm,
And what that looks like for me is I have all these exercises in the book to help you identify your inner circle, or at least think about who was in it before. Like, why did that change? And when I identify who's in my inner circle, I really try to be an outstanding friend to those few people.
mm. I
And
love
what
that.
that means is part of that is diligence. It's keeping track of my friends' appointments, accomplishments, their children's birthdays in my calendar, getting their children little gifts is like, you care about your kid more than anything, and I care about you more than anything. So
Mm.
I'm going to really spend a lot of intention of building friendships with your kids and making them feel loved and validated I care about them. Like, it really is
I
a
love that. It's the
intention
intention. Yes,
and a
yes.
mindset. So if I were to make new friends, and I make new friends all the time, Alessandra, because you can probably tell I'm a big bird and I just want to talk to everyone in the
Yeah.
neighborhood.
You're like me.
And I'm just like, hey, what's poppin'? I'm new here.
Yeah.
I know no one. I'm interested. I made a new friend recently and I reached out because we both work in media
Mm.
and I'm in Philly, which is a little bit rare, harder to come by. It's not rare, but
Sure.
harder. And I'm like, hey, you work in media. I work in media. Oh my God, we live in the same neighborhood. Like, I got to meet you. And we met up for, for a drink. And I'm like, what's been going on? Like, what are your pain points? That's catnip for a potential friend of like, what's been
Yes.
going on? What's hard? How can I help you? That's a
Yes.
great attitude for a new
How can I
friendship.
help you? Yes.
And she said, a lot of her friends had moved away and
Mm.
she's been feeling lonely. I'm like, I think you'd hit it off with some other women I know. Let me arrange like a big happy hour for all of us. And I guess what? I helped her. I introduced her to other people and
So nice.
it strengthened our friendship because I'm like, what are your pain
Sure.
points? How can I help? That is a way to make a new friend.
I love that.
Um, and from there, it's really like what made it clear. I'm like, I think you're awesome. I really care about you. Like, how can I help you? That's
You
it. That's
know,
the attitude.
and that's
And I
exactly what
adore
it is.
her. We get
It's
together a few
it's
times, you know.
It's absolutely it's the intention and seeing how you can help. And it's so funny because there are so many even moms in this mom group that I have. It all started from a music class at my house that lasted like 2.5 years, and all these different moms like slowly started coming in. Some we didn't vibe with, some like got very close. It's so funny. Like,
Mm.
and we still have this group chat that's going on. And there were so many moms in there that I could say, I think these two moms are going to get along really well, because both of them are going through something very similar, or both of them have the same, mental health issues that I feel like they can help each other with, and they can be a soundboard off each other. And everyone's kind of like created little mini friendships within the friendships. And one of the
Mm.
girls, like, someone
Yeah.
thought, she and I were like friends since we were in high school. I was like, oh no, we met like the same time everyone else did, but we just had so many similarities that we connected really closely, you know what I mean? And really fast. But I think that that's what's so nice is when you have a big group, everyone can kind of find a little bit of something in someone, and maybe you can connect and be the connector.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what you are, Anna. You are a
Yeah.
connector, and you're helping so many people
I
find
try.
these modern friendships. And I think it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I really do. I that's why I was so excited to have this interview, because I feel like we don't put enough energy and we don't put enough thought into these friendships, these modern friendships. And,
These modern friendships. Yeah.
I think that it's something that we need to, even though it's a secondary role, it's something we need to really think about. We need to prioritize those ones and really remember, like, who are we putting in our inner circle? Like, they better be like helping us
Yeah.
as much as we can help them, and vice versa. Otherwise, if you have a one-way friendship, like, send them on their way. Like, we need to be here together. We need to help each other grow. Like, that's what this is about. This is what life is about.
Yeah. And I really feel like your best friendships are ahead of you. I'm
Yeah.
47. I'm a little older than you. And I'm having the best, most secure friendships of my life
Oh,
since I've learned all this knowledge. I've really been an evangelist because I'm
oh
like,
yeah.
people need to know that it's not hopeless. Like
Sure.
you can navigate these waters, but the the waters are different. You
Yes.
need different strategies. You need to understand how people make decisions now. People
Yes.
have so much choice. And it's like, well, how do I stand out when there's unlimited choice?
Right.
And it really is the simple thing of like, I'm here to help. I have the
I'm here
energy
to
of
help.
I'm here to help
Yeah.
and I'm interested, I'm available, I want to be a part of it. And just telling my friends, being explicit, removing uncertainty of I love being in your life. I admire you. I want to help you be the best person you can be in any way. I'm here to support. And
Yeah.
it's like, who wouldn't want that kind of friend in their life? So
Yes.
we
Who
can
wouldn't
do
want that?
that to our friends. We
Oh,
can give that to our friends. We can model for them. This
yes.
is how I
Yes.
practice friendship. And then it'll be, my hope is it's contagious and they'll go to their friends and be like, oh, wow, it makes me feel really good when my friend says, I want to be your friend forever, just FYI. It's like, you know what? I'm going to say that to the people I care about.
Honestly, that's so sweet. And I'm going to call Jenna and let her know. And Jenna's going to be like, why are you calling me and telling me this? Like, I just know her reaction. And I'm going to be like, what do you mean? It's so like sweet. It's so nice. And she'll be like, what happened to you? Like, what's going on? And then I'm going to be like, oh, the podcast. She's like, all right. Okay. I get it.
Yeah.
She's like, I love you
And
too.
tell her why. Say, this
Yes.
is why I love being your
I'll
friend.
say
It's like,
Anna has a Jenna too.
I have a Jenna too. And I tell her, like, once I learned the different roles that friends can play, I realized my Jenna is my entertainer. Like I always laugh. I'm
Mm,
always in a good mood. And it's like, hey, this is the role you play for me. Like I'm always in a good mood talking to you. Like
yeah.
I always get a pick me up from, so even giving the language of like, this is how I see you in my life. This is the role you play for me. This is why I value you has
I
done
like that.
like
The language. Yeah.
amazing things for our friendship. It's on such solid ground. So that's my hope is people can just have better language and we can educate ourselves on because this is so important. There's nothing more
So,
important
no,
than
it's
our
so
friendships.
important. Well,
I'm
Anna,
with
this
you.
has been such an amazing conversation. I'm like so grateful that you came on the podcast. Like, you're going to help so many
Thank
people,
you.
myself included. I'm going to ask you my
Aw.
final question that I ask everyone on the show.
Sure.
What is your emotional support?
Oh, my cat Eleanor.
I
She's a
love
little
that.
tripod. She's a little tripod, and
No.
we saw her in the window of the kitty cat cafe, and my husband couldn't stop thinking about her and like cried during dinner. Like it's that cat should have a good life.
And that
So I'm
cat
like,
is
let's
having
go
an
meet
amazing
her.
life on your bed, just
And
living her best life.
she's a little tripod and seeing her just like go about her day, get her life. Like she is my emotional support of just, I want my house to be a home for people with rough starts. She had a rough start. She had lost her paw at a year old. And we just
Poor
adopted
little
another
baby.
cat, Iggy, who had a rough start too. So it's like rough start,
Oh,
like, come on, rough start crew. Let's
I
all
love that.
hang out.
I love
I'm a
that
rough
so
start
much.
positive person of like, life is hard. Like, just come here, come hang out in a soft blanket. Here's
Just
a
let's get
snack.
cozy together and have like and you have a new friendship, you know? They're your new buds.
Yes, through my new buds. And I have one final thing is that with Iggy, I wanted him to love me as much as Eleanor did. And it was a good lesson about friendship that it takes time. And I had to take the pressure off
You
and
were
just be like,
smothering him a
listen,
little too
Iggy,
much.
I love you. I was smothering him. And I was like, why aren't you purring? Why aren't
No,
you purring with me? And I had to
no.
take the pressure off. And it reminded me that with friends, you got to take the pressure off of, listen,
Yeah.
life is hard. I'm here with a snack. Come cuddle when I'm here for
I'm
you.
here when you're ready.
Thanks for letting me like riff on my cat theories,
No.
but okay. You can find me online at Anna Goldfarb. I have a Substack called Friendship Explained,
Cool.
annagoldfarb.substack.com. And also on my website, I have a free excerpt of my book. No email sign up required. It's just a link you can click if you want to check it out and see if the book would be a good fit for you.
Fabulous. And I'm going to have all the links below, and then with
Thank
the
you.
socials and all that, of course. Thank
I appreciate
you.
that. Thank you.